Hi guys, Olive here. Here today to talk to you about what I am planning on reading in October 2023. It's been a chaotic few months for me. I have a lot of new things going on in my life. I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on that because I do try to keep this channel about books and not about my personal life, but lots of new things for me right now. All good things, I will clarify. All good things, all positive things. It's just been a lot. I've been a little bit overwhelmed, hence why I needed to take a little break. With everything going on, just out of necessity, reading had to take more of a backseat in my life for a period of time there, as did this channel. That's why I put this channel on pause for a couple of weeks. But I am working to get back on track. I am sure you've noticed there have been a few videos from me in your feed as of late, and there will be more to come. I really want to be back on track because Nonfiction November is right around the corner. And yes, I will be announcing Nonfiction November this time next week. So get excited and keep an eye out for that video. I love October reading. I love the spooky books, the atmospheric books, but I know from experience that October becomes all about Nonfiction November for me. All of the excitement surrounding it, all of the preparations for it, it dominates all of my spare time, whatever spare time I currently do have. So I kind of know better than to jam-pack my October TBR. I would also like to go back to previous month's TBRs and read some of the books that fell through the cracks. So because of those things, I'm keeping this TBR on the lighter side. Let's take a look at the books I am planning on reading in October, though. You would think with Nonfiction November coming up this soon that I would be more in the mood to read fiction books, since Nonfiction November is all about nonfiction for me anyway. But I guess I'm just in the spirit early because there are only 2 novels on this TBR and then all the rest are nonfiction. But the first one of those novels is called IQ by Joe Ide. This is the first book in a mystery series starring a man named Isaiah who grew up in a very hard neighborhood of LA. And as a result of that, he has incredible street smarts that allow him to figure out crimes that the cops can't solve. This entire series came highly recommended by my eye doctor. I love him. I've been going to him for years. Every time I'm there, we end up chatting books because he knows I like to read. And he was raving about this series. He said he's never read anything like it, and he is a mystery reader. So I'm going to take his recommendation. I could go for a good mystery. The other novel I would like to read in October is called The Collected Regrets of Clover by Mickey Brammer. This book is set in New York City, and our main character is what is known as a death doula, meaning that it is her job to guide her clients through their final days of life to ease that transition for them. And this is the story of how working with one specific client forces this woman to take inventory of her own life and regrets. And despite the sad nature of this plot, it actually seems like this is going to be more of a feel-good read, maybe something similar to The Midnight Library. I've been curious about this one for quite some time, so I'm just going to take the plunge and read it. Moving on to nonfiction, a book that I recently showed off in a haul video that is also about someone who has a profession relating to death is Past Mortems by Carla Valentine. This author spent 10 years first working to become and then working as a pathology technician. And in this memoir, she discusses what it's like being a so-called death professional. I read this author's latest book. It was called The Science of Murder, all about the forensics of Agatha Christie. I read it around this time last year. And I have this thing. I can't be the only one who experiences this, but when I read a book during a specific time of year, I start to associate that book with that time of year. And so when that time of year rolls around again, I start craving that book. So I have been craving a reread of The Science of Murder. But since this author has a first book out there, one that I haven't yet read, I thought I would pick this one up. It's because I love The Science of Murder. I would love to get all of those I love this book endorphins all over again. So we'll see if that whole experience can be repeated. This next one, it's a bit of an off-the-wall pick, even for me, but a while back, for some reason, I was compelled to take advantage of a daily deal that I saw on Audible, and I got How Magicians Think: Misdirection, Deception, and Why Magic Matters by Joshua J. And this is a collection of short essays about how magicians plan new tricks, how they solve problems, but it apparently does not go too far in revealing all of their secrets. This one just seemed like fun, so I thought I would listen to it during the month of October. And I am sure that listening to it is going to make me regret not going to a magic show when I was just in Las Vegas. But back to form, I have of course put a nature book on my October TBR. And a while back, like longer than I care to admit, Greystone Books was gracious enough to send me a copy of Cockroaches and Crickets, Learning to Love Creatures That Skitter and Jump by Frank Nishk, and I keep forgetting to read it because, well, life is overwhelming. But in the spirit of getting my life together this month, I am just going to go ahead and read this. This is a deep dive into the world of insects, and we may not always love them, but we do need them. And then I really need to get back on track with my 23 nonfiction books I want to read in 2023 list. If I'm going to have all those read by the time 2023 is over, then I have some catching up to do. So in addition to all the books I'm going to be catching up on, I am putting 2 more from that list on my October menu. I am finally going to read I Am Malala, which is the memoir of a young Pakistani woman who was famously attacked by the Taliban after she stood up for her right to an education. And then, since the movie comes out in just a few short weeks now, I know for a fact that I'm going to be reading Killers of the Flower Moon by David Grann. This book is about a series of murders of Native Americans that happened back in the 1920s. My husband read this one years ago. He's been wanting me to read it ever since, which is why I put it on my priority nonfiction list. But we want to go see that movie together, so this one will get read by the time the movie comes out. And those are the books that I picked out for the month of October. Like I said, it is a lot leaner than a normal month, but I do have a lot going on, and I do want to allow myself some extra space, some wiggle room to catch up specifically on those nonfiction priority books, but then other books from previous months' TBRs where I can fit them in. I want to do all those things, but I also know that I have to prioritize Nonfiction November. It is something that I get really excited about. I know a lot of you do too, and it requires a lot from me. So I'm going to do the best I can with making content, with my reading, while also still making sure that Nonfiction November is ready to go. So, gonna give myself grace where I need it. But down in the comments below, let me know if you want to read any of the books I've spoken about today, or if you have read them, you want to share your thoughts. Let me know what you're planning on reading in October. And also, let me know if you have any guesses about our Nonfiction November challenges. All the challenges are locked and ready to go, but I would be curious to hear if you have any guesses. Maybe I could sprinkle some clues around my social media profiles, get some excitement going. I think they're really good this year, and I can't wait to share them with you. But in the meantime, all the books that I spoke about in today's video and any other videos I may have mentioned throughout this video, they'll all be linked in the description box below for you. They're all there for your clicking convenience. And at the very, very bottom of that exact same description box, you will see links to everywhere you can find me around the internet. Goodreads, Instagram, the Story Graph, all the places I'm the most active when I have time to be, just in case you want to keep up with what I'm reading and what I'm doing right now. Thanks so much for watching. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.